Chief Martin, yes. Well, I had the fortune of knowing Chief Martin, and he was he's one of those people, and I don't want to make it sound like we'll never have another one quite like him, and that becomes cliche, I think, at times, but quite frankly, I don't think we'll have another Whitey Martin. And we'll not have another Whitey Martin, nor will we have another V.E. Rogers, chiefs of that nature. These guys were cultivated in a day and time when personality was, and that's not to say you won't have personalities, people that are rich in personality, but they just commanded the show. They didn't have that. Chief Martin was not only excellent with dealing with the people in the EMS, he was excellent with dealing with the media, and he was the right man at the right time for that job of starting the EMS program in Houston, which is probably why he was selected. And the chief that selected him was C.R.J. Cook. And this was in actually the selection was probably made right around the start of 1971, since they actually made their first run in April. So I'm sure Chief Martin was the chief in mind of Chief Cook as soon as City Council said, y'all are gonna have this. And but he was very active. He was at least in the first years that he was doing this. Well, I mean, first 15 years that he was doing this, he was out in the street. He was always, responding to the calls as well. His radio call number at one point started out, as I remember, was 1100. 1100, I'll be responding. I remember when Good Pasture grain elevator blew up out in Galena Park in 1976. He came on the radio, 1100, do we have a report of an explosion? And sure enough, he responded, and he was, Johnny on the spot. He lived out in that area anyway, and he was there real quick. He was always on the scene whenever there was something. I remember there's a photo of him where Howard Hughes' body was brought back from, I believe Howard Hughes had been in Mexico when he died, or something, or maybe I forget where he was, but he was flown in to Houston for burial, and Chief Martin was there to make sure that went smoothly. But Chief Martin was there. If there was a parallel between him and Dr. Pepe, it was to be that they were both on the scene frequently, and they rarely let anything happen that they weren't actively involved in. So they knew what was going on, both of them.